Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Nwawodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, River State House of Assembly issues arrest warrant for the chairman of River State Independent Electoral Commission, Justice Adolphus Enebile, and his commissioners. Former Governor of Kaduna State Nasir El-Rufai dumps the All Progressives Congress for the SDP. Justice Kaduna APC says it is not losing sleep over his defection. Federal High Court Abuja adjourns suit filed by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan of the Kogi Central against the Senate till March 25th, 2025. And Canada's next Prime Minister, Mark Carney, vows to win the trade war against U.S. President Donald Trump after a landslide victory to replace Justin Trudeau. In On Business, NNPC debunks claims of ending crude oil deal with Dangote refinery.
On sports news tonight, King Charles III launches the King's Baton Relay as it begins its journey around member nations ahead of the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games.
From the nation's capital, President Tinubu inaugurates Planning Committee for the National Youth Congress. We begin tonight with politics in River State, with the issue of an arrest warrant by the River State House of Assembly for the chairman of the River State Independent Electoral Commission, Justice Adolphus Enebile, and his commissioners. Well, this development is coming after the expiration of a 72-hour ultimatum given to them by the Assembly. Our correspondent Charles Oporum reports.
At plenary today, there are 3 items on the order paper: the introduction of 1 new bill and modification of 2 existing laws. The new bill, titled the River State House of Assembly Powers and Privileges Bill 2025, is sponsored by the leader of the House.
The River State House of Assembly Powers and Privileges Bill 2025, Mr. Speaker, a bill for a law to give the River State House of Assembly the desired powers and immunity to be able to carry out its legislative responsibility pursuant to the Legislative House Powers and Privileges Act 2027.
The 2 other proposed amendments to the RISIEC and local government laws are also presented. Then the House lets in 3 former RISIEC commissioners who resigned over the weekend, and they engage with them. Afterwards, the House goes into a debate following the RISIEC chairman's absence, with members calling for his arrest.
I think it's high time we make them understand that we are here for business and not for joke.
We've taken enough from you, Mr. Speaker. I support Enebile should be arrested. It's high time we arrested him.
The Speaker puts it to a vote, after which he issues the arrest warrant, which he says will be shared with the police immediately.
Bring them here. Distinguished colleagues, those for 24, those against nil, abstention nil. By these voting honorable members, this House has therefore resolved that Justice Enebile and other commissioners who failed to appear before the 10th River State House of Assembly will now be compelled by this House via the warrants issued under the seal of the Speaker to the Nigeria Police to bring them here to answer questions. And this will be done immediately so that the needful can happen. Rivers people can know what has been happening to their funds and what has been happening in the River State Independent Electoral Commission.
Speaking on the sidelines of the event, however, the former RISIEC commissioners say they resigned in obedience to the Supreme Court.
The election that we conducted last was annulled by the Supreme Court of Nigeria. So I think I cannot be there again to keep deceiving myself.
I didn't want to go through the rigor of people usurping the duties of the commissioners. And when it comes to blame, we all begin to bear the blame. So I don't want to go through that hassle anymore.
Also considered were a bill to repeal the Rivers State Local Government Law No. 5 of 2018 and reenact the Rivers State Local Government Law to make provisions for the structure and functions of the local government. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, as the tension in Rivers State seems, Governor Fubara is now appealing for restraint. Speaking at the commissioning of the Akpo Palace in Obiakpo local government area of the state, he advised his supporters to follow his footsteps by being peaceful despite any provocation.
I want to say to our timid supporters, I know your spirits are, some of your spirits are high, some of your spirits are low. But I want to assure you one important fact of life. God does not start and end halfway. It doesn't matter what the situation is, what the situation might be today. I assure you that will come up again stronger and better. Continue to follow my footstep, and that footstep remains peace. For our leaders, we can't thank you enough. Each time we come out and we see the strength, the vigor in your faces, in the camp of our enemy, the jilter, fear grips them. Because these are people that are following us without anything. These are men who have made their names, who believe that at this point in time, what is important is the integrity of Rivers State.
Staying in Rivers State has yet another call for calm amidst the political rising tension, as elder statesman and former governor of Rivers State, Chief Rufus Adegeorge, is asking all parties to prioritize peace and dialogue following the Supreme Court's recent judgment. Speaking to journalists, Chief Adegeorge warns against inflammatory rhetoric, emphasizing the need for political leaders to act responsibly. He expressed deep concern over the economic fallout, highlighting the withheld monthly allocations and the growing hardship faced by Rivers State people.
Today, with a deep sense of responsibility and commitment to the peace and well-being of our great state, I address you as an elder statesman and former governor of Rivers State. As I speak to you,
I sincerely apologize for that technical glitch. We'll bring that track up later in the course of the bulletin. And staying with politics, the former governor of Kaduna State, Mr. Nasir El-Rufai, has formally resigned from the All Progressives Congress, the APC, citing irreconcilable differences between his political ideology and the current trajectory of the party. He stated this on his Facebook post, which he also confirmed on his verified X handle, stating recent developments in the party, which according to him has left no desire on the part of those who currently control and run the APC to acknowledge, much less address, the unhealthy situation of the party. Mr. El-Rufai, who is a founding member of the APC, says that he has raised concerns in private and more recently in public regarding the trajectory of the party. He adds that he has joined the Social Democratic Party, the SDP, and will, in partnership with other progressive politicians, form the major opposition party that will challenge the ruling APC in all elections going forward. Well, there's a response to that defection, and the message is clear. We will not lose sleep over the defection of the immediate past governor of the state, Nasir El-Rufai, to the Social Democratic Party, the SDP. Well, those words are coming from the Kaduna State chapter of the All Progressives Congress. The party, in a statement by its secretary, Yahya Pate, explains that it remains unperturbed by the defection of the former governor, saying that it is focused on delivering Kaduna State to President Bola Tinubu and Governor Ubasani come 2020. 2027. He expresses confidence the party's growing strength in Kaduna State, saying the recent defection of high-profile politicians from opposition parties into the APC is an indication of its acceptability and popularity in the state. And political realignments continue to shape Nigeria's political landscape as another high-profile defection makes headlines. In Delta State, a major political shift is also unfolding as Chief Great Oboru has officially been received into the APC alongside his supporters. The event, which held in Ughelli, was attended by top APC leaders, including Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Festus Keyamo, and other key party figures. They welcomed Mr. Oboru into the APC fold, expressing optimism about taking power from the ruling People's Democratic Party in the state. Declaring that the APC is poised for victory in 2027, Mr. Keyamo also took the stage, explaining why Great Oboru should be accepted into the party. It describes him as a strong and organic opposition.
To join hands with the College of Leaders to continue from where we stopped, to try our very best and to give our all to make sure that one day not only is APC the ruling party in this state, but one day it will be said that when the APC took over Delta State, the lives of the people in Delta State changed. Because if we are trying to take over the state, because we want to do business as usual, may God not allow us to help them. But if it is the wish of God that the people of Delta State must live a better life and that they must have the fortunes and goodness of democracy, let God give APC the opportunity to take over so that our lives will be better.
But we're not done with politics yet. The People's Democratic Party, the PDP in Edo State, has criticized the All Progressives Congress-led administration over alleged spike in criminal activities leading to insecurity concerns among residents. The chairman of the PDP Caretaker Committee, Mr. Anthony Ezegbemi, who made this known during a media briefing in Benin City, the Edo State capital, says the present administration has been overwhelmed by the worsening insecurity in the state. Meanwhile, the Edo State government, on the flip side, is pushing back against these claims by the PDP of widespread lawlessness. The Chief Press Secretary of the Edo State Governor, Fred Itua, in a statement, calls PDP's claim of state under siege exaggerated and misleading, insisting the governor, Monday Okpeholo's administration, is actively enhancing security across Edo State. According to the statement, key initiatives include revamping the Edo security network, stronger collaboration with law enforcement, and significant investment in modern security infrastructure. The state government adds that these measures are already yielding results with improved responses to emerging threats. Mr. Itua notes that concerns about market disruptions and illegal revenue collection are also being addressed through structural reforms aimed at eliminating multiple taxation and illegal tolls. The state government stresses its commitment to public safety, highlighting the procurement of modern security equipment, the deployment of personnel to hotspots, and the rapid response mechanism across the state. In part two, after the break, Federal High Court Abuja adjourned suit filed by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan of Kogi Central against the Senate till March 25th, 2025. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. River State House of Assembly issues arrest warrants for the chairman of River State Independent Electoral Commission, Justice Adolphus Enebili, and his commissioners. Former Governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, dumps the All Progressives Congress for the SDP. Justice Kaduna APC says it is not losing sleep over his defection. Federal High Court Abuja adjourned suit filed by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan of Kogi Central against the Senate till March 25th, 2025. And Canada's next Prime Minister Mark Carney vows to win the trade war against U.S. President Donald Trump after a landslide victory to replace Justin Trudeau. Let's head to the courts now, where Justice Obiora Egwatu of the Federal High Court Abuja has adjourned the suit filed by Senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, till March 25th, 2025. Senator Natasha had approached the Federal High Court seeking an order restraining the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges from investigating her. The court subsequently granted the order last week, but the Senate on Thursday suspended the senator for 6 months after it considered the report of the committee. At the day's proceedings, counsel to the defendants told the court that they have not been served, but counsel to Mrs. Natasha, Michael Numa, however, confirmed the court that all parties had been served, adding that affidavits of service was before the court. And after going through the affidavits of service, Justice Egwatu confirmed the service of all processes on all the defendants. At this point, the counsel to the third defendant, the Senate President Kehinde Ogunwumiju, prayed the court to adjourn for all processes to be harmonized. Justice Egwatu subsequently adjourned the matter to March 25th, 2025, and ordered that all the relevant processes be served on parties before the adjourned date. The Lagos High Court has extended the hearing of the suit filed by the reinstated Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, to March 17th, 2025. The presiding judge, Justice Yetunde Pinheiro, also ordered that the hearing of all applications and processes before the court will be taken together. Mr. Obasa is challenging the allegations that led to his initial removal as Speaker, which included fraud, high-handedness, abuse of office, and gross misconduct. He filed the suit against the members of the State Assembly and the former Speaker, Mojisola Miranda. However, when the case came up for hearing yesterday, the lead counsel representing the House of Assembly, Mr. Femi Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, informed the court that Mr. Obasa lead counsel, that's his lead counsel, Mr. Folabi Fashanu, has served further affidavits on him today. Mrs. Miranda's lead counsel, Mr. Tayo Yetibo, also told the court that further processes Mr. Falana referred to entailed serious fraud allegations against his clients and therefore required to file response. The judge ordered all parties to file, serve, and exchange processes before the next adjourned date. In the meantime, the Supreme Court of Nigeria has reversed judgment in the appeal filed by the embattled Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Samuel Anyanwu, challenging his sack from office. In the appeal, Mr. Anyanwu is seeking to set aside the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Enugu, which upheld the Federal High Court's judgment that removed him as the secretary of the party. In a 10-ground appeal filed by his counsel, Mr. Ken Jemanze, Mr. Anyanwu prayed the Apex Court to allow the appeal and overturn the decision of the lower court. He also argued that the appellate court erred in law when it upheld the trial court's jurisdiction over a matter dealing with the internal affairs of the PDP. Earlier, the Apex Court struck out Mr. Anyanwu's motion for a stay of execution after his counsel applied for the motion to be withdrawn, but the respondents did not object to that withdrawal. So other stories now. River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has commissioned the newly constructed palace of the Akpo Kingdom, and the governor reaffirmed his commitment to governance as he promises to continue to empower governance at the grassroots.
It's a grand celebration in Akpo Kingdom in Obiakpo local government area of River State as Governor Siminalayi Fubara leads top government officials to inaugurate the newly constructed Palace of the King built by the state government. The palace features 5 ensuite bedrooms, 2 auditoriums with seating capacities of 120 and 50 and other facilities, sitting on a 9,000 square meter land secured with an electrified perimeter fence. Akpo, despite existing about 200 years, has never had a palace.
This palace complex, in terms of land space, is about 9,000 square meters. Behind the palace building is the royal garden, It is customary in our tradition that the king and his wife will definitely have a garden, and that is provided for.
This project was awarded 6 months ago following a request from the people. Speaking at the event, Governor Fubara reaffirms his commitments to governance, assuring his supporters that he would not be distracted by political tensions in the state.
I'm happy that 6 months after the award of that project, that we're here to commission not just the building, but to say something or to make a statement in Akpo Kingdom. We did not just build a palace, but we provided a personal residence for the Onyenwele.
Before commissioning the project, the chairman of the River State Council of Traditional Rulers emphasizes the importance of traditional rulers in stabilizing governance.
This government understands that traditional rulers are the closest leaders to the people. Traditional rulers play vital roles in maintaining peace and orderliness in the communities, and by so doing, they simplify governance.
Aside from the palace, the Fubara-led administration also constructed a personal residence for the king to ensure that after his reign, his family can relocate to the private residence while the new ruler takes over the new palace. The commissioning of the Akpo Palace comes shortly after the unveiling of another palace in Apara Kingdom, the home of the chairman of the River State Council of Traditional Rulers, also in Obiakpo local government area.
Please, if you know you mistakenly.
The news at 10 continues now as we head over to Abuja studios where Millicent Walker is standing by to give us more on the news. Hello, Millicent.
Hi, Anne. Thanks very much. And indeed, welcome. Well, all hands appear to be on deck ahead of the National Youth Conference being organized by the Ministry of Youth Development to advance the development of the country, as President Bola Tinubu encourages Nigerian youths to take the conference seriously. Now, he was speaking during the inauguration of the ceremony of the Planning Committee of the National Youth Conference, which took place at the State House Council Chamber, Abuja. Our correspondent, Larry Lasisi, has more.
The council chamber is filled with members of the planning committee for the National Youth Conference being organized by the federal government. The 30-day conference is to address critical issues facing the country's youths, including unemployment, education, and political participation. Also in attendance is the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, some ministers, aides to the President, and some members of the National Assembly. The President is here to inaugurate the planning committee for the conference, and the Minister of Youth Development is clear about the government's readiness to engage with the country's youth.
The government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is ready to listen to the voice of the young people of this country. This is why the President has approved the National Youth Conference as a platform for the youth to contribute productively.
A member of the committee, speaking on their behalf, thanked the President for the initiative and put forward some requests.
One one, ensuring that there's adequate funding that is provided, for the conference, because the success of this conference is hinged on government support. Your Excellency, if this conference is going to succeed, it needs to be insulated from bureaucratic bottlenecks. That way it will accelerate the conversations on the conference, but more importantly, the implementation thereof.
The president assured the committee that his administration's policies are focused on the youth.
You are the hope of this country. Everything hangs in your future. Every decision that I've taken is about you. It's about tomorrow. You have the great opportunity of advancing the development of this country. It's all in your hands.
On the issue of implementation, the president had this to say.
Mine is to help navigate and push and lift the heavyweight problems. Look at me in the face. Tell me whatever you think is wrong and the way you want this done, or suggestions. We try to implement all of it as long as it is for the prosperity of this country.
He encouraged them to employ technology in every way possible and assured them that everything will be done to make Nigeria a better place. From the presidential villa, Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, NNPCL debunks claims of ending crude oil deal with Dangote refinery. That's on Business News. Please join us again. You're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from our Abuja studios. Now, for what has been described as his inspiring leadership and contributions to the advancement of quality education in Nigeria, the Enugu State Governor, Peter Mbah, has received the Doctor of Humane Letters, DHL degree from the Bamidele Ulumiluwa University of Education, Science and Technology, Ekiti State. The governor received the award at the maiden convocation ceremony of the state-owned university in Ikere, Ekiti, where he reiterates his administration's resolve to continue to transform the education sector in Enugu State.
It's the maiden convocation ceremony of the Bamidele Ulumiluwa University of Education, Science and Technology, Ekiti State. The graduates, school management, the state governor, Biodun Yebanji, Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah, and other stakeholders are here to witness the occasion. It's also a gathering to honor those who've distinguished themselves in service to humanity.
The pioneer students, pioneer graduates, and pioneer graduates of Westy, I say congratulations.
The Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Olufemi Adeoluwa, advises the 1,109 graduating students to become good ambassadors.
You have labored, toiled, and poured the midnight oil. I'm very sure that you will say today that the reward is sweet. I charge you to always remember to strive, to be self-reliant, to think out of the box, to venture so you can win, to get closer to God, and to be certain that you will make it to the top.
The Chancellor of the university and a legal luminary, Chief Wale Olanipekun, takes time to speak on the importance of adequate funding for the institution and other state-owned universities.
You have been well lectured, tutored, disciplined, and go out and conquer the world. Go out and be greater than all of us standing at this podium today. Go out, wave to the future, smile to the future, whisper to the future.
It's time to confer degrees of honor to the deserving honorees, and the Enugu State Governor, Peter Mbah, is one of the recipients, while conferring the highest degree of Doctor of Humane Letters on the governor. The university's Chancellor, Chief Wale Olanipekun, notes that the degree is strictly meant for lawyers of distinction, which Mr. Mbah is fully deserving of. Appreciating the honor, Governor Mbah states that the award is an inspiration to recommit to the governance values that underpinned his modest achievements in Enugu State.
This award again, it's going to further recommit us to what we're also doing in Enugu State in the education space. For us in Enugu, education is our lifeblood. We've been accused of being obsessed and insane with education because we're spending over 33% of our total budget. We've dedicated that to education.
Governor Mba also commends the state governor, Biodun Yubanji, who had earlier approved automatic employment for the best graduating student. For Governor Yubanji, his government will go beyond promises and work to ensure that qualitative education is delivered in the state.
Let me assure you that our administration remains steadfast in its commitments to the growth of West. Like the Ghana turning to the vision buyer, we will continue to provide the infrastructure, resources, and support needed for these institutions to thrive.
Quality and functional education is the bedrock of every society's overall growth. Stakeholders in the sector believe that government at all levels must continue to work assiduously to provide adequate infrastructural and conducive environment for academic excellence to continue to thrive in Nigeria.
Of the Niger and awardee of the Faculty Rule of Honor and serve on the administrative and academic side of the university.
And congratulations to all the honorees. Now that's it from the nation's capital. It's over to Will Ibong for business news.
Thank you, Millicent. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, has debunked reports that it unilaterally ended its crude oil sales agreement with Dangote Refinery. It explains that the contract, which allows crude purchases in Naira, was a 6-month deal expiring in March 2025 with discussions ongoing for renewal. NNPC stated that since October 2024, it has supplied Dangote Refinery with over 48 million barrels of crude oil, bringing the total to more than 84 million barrels since operations began in 2023. The company assured its continued commitment to crude supply for local refining under mutually agreed terms. And the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, Petron, has called for healthy competition and price stability in the downstream sector. In a statement released today, Petron laid emphasis on the importance of preventing monopolies and ensuring local refineries thrive, given their significant economic benefits to the country. To achieve this, Petron recommends a multiplicity of supply sources, including Dangote Refinery, NNPC refineries, modular refineries, and imports. According to Petron, this diverse range of sources will foster competition, especially with imports, allowing for comparisons with international market prices and protecting the local markets from exploitation. Now, the 2025 budget is intended to allocate more money to security and defense in Nigeria. That's according to the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Badugu, while speaking at a media briefing in Lagos today. The minister, who thanks Nigerians for their support, also says that results have shown that tackling insecurity will bring about more farming activities, lower food prices, and inflation reduction in the country.
Mr. President is appreciative that Nigerians have given us the maximum support, and we are pleased that the economy is turning in the right direction. We are not where we want to be, but certainly we have turned on the right direction. And so the 2025 budget is a follow-through to that philosophy. How can we ensure that we are investing the little that we have in those areas that will restore macroeconomic stability, restore security, provide food security, restore infrastructure growth, restore innovation in the economy, invest in human capital, as well as social protection.
We head down to the domestic stock market. You'd open the week with positive sentiments. That's good news, and John McCoy is happy to share.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, it's good to begin the week on a green note. That's what we have at the NGX today. It's just 52 billion naira added to the market cap, but at least we can sustain the 66 trillion naira level and also 106,000 for the oil share after it went up 0.08%. And it's thanks to, well, we've seen after the losses, especially on oil and gas stocks, as well as the financials, well, they are making up for it today. So we see tenor oil today gain 3 naira 40 kobo to close at 37 naira 55 kobo. Transco joined that. They gained 4 naira 65 kobo. Less than 1 naira is what FCMB, but at least it got it to the top gainers. On the flip side, we see VFD Group, Intense G Insurance, and Cadbury. They made up for the losers, but in spite of them, it's good to have the bull back.
Let's get a sense of the performance of other global markets around the world. And that's it on business. It's back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Will. Still to come on the news at 10. Canada's next Prime Minister, Mark Carney, vows to win the trade war against U.S. President Donald Trump after a landslide victory to replace Justin Trudeau. Please stay with us. Back. Let's stay outside our shores. One person is in hospital while 36 mariners have been brought ashore, and that's after a cargo vessel collided with an oil tanker off the coast of England today. One of those ships is an oil tanker MV Stena Immaculate and a cargo ship called Solong. Here's Simon Pusey with more on this and other international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
In first place, the next Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney.
Canada's next Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has vowed to win the trade war against US President Donald Trump after a landslide victory to replace Justin Trudeau. Mr. Carney, who will be sworn in as Prime Minister in the coming days, pledges retaliatory tariffs on US goods until Americans show us respect. The 59-year-old, who has never held elected office, easily won the leadership race with 86% of the vote.
Donald Trump, as we know, has put, as the Prime Minister just said, unjustified tariffs on what we build, on what we sell, on how we make a living. The Canadian government has rightly retaliated and is rightly retaliating with our own tariffs that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impact here in Canada.
The Trump administration believes Ukraine's leadership is ready to move forward with the US's demand for a ceasefire process with Russia. That's according to a senior US State Department official. The US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz are due to arrive in Saudi Arabia for Tuesday's talks with their Ukrainian counterparts. US President Donald Trump has stepped up pressure on his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky to accept his demands for a quick ceasefire with Moscow, but without any immediate pledge of a US U.S. security guarantee. Syria's interim leader has appealed for unity as violence and revenge killings continue in areas loyal to ousted former leader Bashar al-Assad on Sunday. Hundreds of people have reportedly fled their homes in the coastal provinces of Latakia and Tartus, strongholds of Assad support. In Hay al-Qusor, a predominantly Alawite neighborhood in the coastal city of Banias, residents say the streets are filled with scattered bodies. The Alawite sect is an offshoot of Shia Islam and makes up around 10% of Syria's population, which is majority Sunni Muslim. Assad belongs to the sect. Hundreds of flights have been cancelled across Germany as airport workers stage a nationwide strike over pay, posing a major disruption for air travellers. The industrial action, led by the trade union Verdi, began unexpectedly on Sunday at Hamburg Airport before expanding to a nationwide strike. Passengers at Frankfurt, Munich, Berlin and other major hubs have been urged not to travel to airports, with operations severely disrupted. Police in Kenya have fired tear gas to disperse protesters who tried to occupy a church that was recently given a substantial donation by President William Ruto. The gift to the Jesus Winner Ministry in the suburb of Nairobi of 20 million shillings drew criticism from some young Kenyans struggling with the high cost of living. Mr. Ruto has defended his donation and has offered a similar gift to another church in Eldoret. A major rescue operation has been launched after an oil tanker and a cargo vessel collided off the east coast of Yorkshire, with reports both vessels are on fire. The Coast Guard said the incident happened near the Humber estuary and the alarm was raised at about 9:48 a.m. on Monday. A number of lifeboats and Coast Guard helicopters have been dispatched to the scene. The RNLI said there were reports that a number of people had abandoned the vessels following the collision and there were fires on both ships. Tesla facilities across the US are facing protests and vandalism in response to the political role Elon Musk, who owns the car manufacturer, has played in the Trump administration. Most Tesla takedown protests have been peaceful, but a few have been destructive, with fires intentionally set at Tesla showrooms and charging stations in Colorado and Massachusetts. That was followed by 6 arrests in New York over the weekend when hundreds of protesters occupied a Tesla showroom. There has also been a spike in Cybertruck vandalism across the US, and some car owners are defacing their own Teslas in protest of Musk.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And Athul Fugard has died at the age of 92. He was widely acclaimed as one of South Africa's greatest playwrights. The son of an Afrikaner mother, he was best known for his politically charged plays challenging the racist system of apartheid. Fugard wrote more than 30 plays in a career that spanned 70 years, making his mark with The Blood Knot in 1961.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. King Charles III has launched the King's Baton Relay at Buckingham Palace earlier today ahead of the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games. It is the 18th official Commonwealth Games relay and marks 500 days until the event begins on July 23rd next year. The King handed the baton to champion cyclist Chris Hoy, the first bearer on its journey around member nations. The relay, which begins in London as part of Commonwealth Day celebrations, is the King's first as head of the Commonwealth. To club football now, Liverpool boss Arne Slot has described Paris Saint-Germain's visit to Anfield as the second of 3 finals in a week. But the manager has warned much more is needed from the Premier League leaders to progress to the Champions League quarter-finals. The Reds escaped the Parc des Princes with a 1-0 lead last week, despite being battered by the French champions who came up against an inspired Alisson Becker in the Liverpool goal. Staying with the Champions League, Bayer Leverkusen coach Xabi Alonso believes his team can pull an epic comeback against Bayern Munich despite trailing 3-0 from the first leg and losing Florian Wirtz to injury. Well, Wirtz has been Leverkusen's midfield creative spark this season, but was ruled out for several weeks with an ankle injury sustained over the weekend ahead of Tuesday's return leg in the last 16 tie.
Convinced that we can do it because of many reasons, but one very important one, as Jonah has said. We are in a position that we have nothing to lose. Only Bayer can lose something. 100% of Bayer fans, they think that they are through, and we have only things to win. I'm sure that Bochum fans, after 2-0 the other day, not many they thought, and they came back and they scored. Many unexpected things happen in football.
And that's Sports News Tonight. I'm Kelly. It's back to Anne.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. The Rivers State House of Assembly today issued arrest warrants for the chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, Justice Adolphus Enebili, and his commissioners. The House said the warrants became necessary because they failed to appear before the House. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Waldo. Have a wonderful night rest.